second violins for Vivaldi. I'm Monique. I'm going to do a brief little tutorial for you to help you practice this part so we can get all of the, all the spirit, all of the joy. Even though this is in a minor key, it still has a lot of energy to it. So let's get started. The first thing that I did, maybe you can see this, is that I marked all of the tutti. So there's one part for the soloist and there's one part for the tutti, and it's all the same. So I just highlighted every single tutti, which is what we're playing, just to take the guesswork out of it. And then I also, when a tutti sort of butts up against a solo, I put a double bar because my tendency would be to just keep playing. So do that first. It makes it a whole lot easier to know where you are. Good. Now, the hard thing about this piece is not the notes. You're totally going to get that very quickly. The hard thing is that we have 4 violin parts going, and each one of those is split because there's a solo part. So trying to just like be totally secure so you have your bearings and you know exactly when to play, because it might just be you and your stand partner. In fact, it is. It's just Kendall and Danielle on this part. Overall, the type of stroke that we want in a Vivaldi is like what I call the smiley face stroke. Okay, it kind of has a bounce to it. It's light at the beginning, it's light at the end, and then it sinks in the middle. Just like your bow. Do you notice that? That the bow is sort of more bouncy and sinks in. So that's what we want to do, is when we have a, I'm light, this is slow motion. Now I'm putting the weight of my arm into it. Okay, so if I did that, it'd be kind of crunchy, but the stick goes all the way down, and then it comes back out. So in fast, we get that sort of really ringing kind of sound. So that's worth practicing. So let's start. Let's start with the second tutti, because that's where it's the easiest to practice that stroke. So stop. Okay, and the stop is very important because that's where it rings. So those rests, like, totally honor the rests. Stop. Okay, so what am I doing there? Did you notice that my bow's like going curvy like this? It's not going, but it's going like in and out like this. Woo. So that's accentuating that kind of smile look. Right now, the bottom of my hand is making a smile like this. Okay? Like this. And, the string is round. The string is not flat. So we can play on this side of the string, which is like where I would almost be touching the bout of the violin. And we can play on this, like the A side of the string. And when we do that, it just rings better. Okay, so try that. So when you go here, you're kind of swinging out a little bit. When you go up bow, you're swinging back in. Makes a really nice bouncy stroke, and it's just fun to play that way. All right. So now, and it doesn't take a lot of bow. On this trill, 1 is enough. And then grab these 16th notes, a tiny bit of bow. Okay, so I'm playing pretty much in the middle where the bow is the bounciest for all of that. All right, so that's that fun part. Now, let's go back to the first tutti. What I like about this first tutti is that there's a gesture here. It looks like a lot of notes, but really the gesture is this. Okay, and that's one thing. It goes da 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 ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da, like that, and that's what we want it to feel. So I would recommend that you practice it slurred. So you get the feeling that we're going and dropping. Lift and drop. Okay? Okay, now the question is, can we get that same kind of feel when we're going up and down? Well, here's the trick. You do sort of a regular up bow, a shorter down bow, and a longer up up bow, and that gets you as if you were doing, right? And that gives us space to draw. And that makes it so much more interesting than just going, right? So when I drop, I just like pull the bow really fast, make a really quick smile. That's the gesture there. Same gesture here. Okay, I'm in the middle, and I land with a big smile. What you don't want to get caught doing this, and at the tip, then you're really stuck. So it's and stop, stop. Okay, that's how that works. Let's go to the third tutti. Okay, that's measure. Can't really see it, but the third tutti. It's one line down. It goes like this. Okay, so the first thing that we want to solve is the bowing. Okay, it sounds so cool to do that, but first thing we have to figure out is what is the bow actually doing. First of all, it's just taking little strokes. Okay, that's it. If we try to take, it's just going to be a huge mess. So little strokes, stay in the middle. Now we have to figure out what string we're playing on. So let's see, it's 2 on the A, 2 on the A, 1 on the D, and again. Let's see the next one, 2 on the A, and 1 on the D. Next one, next one is 1 on the A, 2. Aha. So these are important things to know so we are organized in what we do. So let's do the first one, which is 2 on the A. That's worth practicing, just that. A, A, D, A, 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 D, A, A. Okay, and then it's like, okay, when I play on the D, am I going up bow or down bow? Did you notice? It's down bow, okay? So down, down. That's important to know, makes it so much easier. The next one also is going to be A, A, D, A, A, D. Okay, so practice that until it becomes like one gesture. Okay, tell them to be just like, yeah, I can just spit that out. Okay, and then the next one, or the last one, is A, D, D, A, A, D, D, A, D, D, A, A, D, D, A, A. Okay, so that's different. That means now when you go to the D string, you're going up bow. That's important to know. And you might put a little accent on that up bow just to make sure you're going in the right direction. All right, so once we have that down, then we have to look at how we're going to play this in tune. So when I put this in, the first thing I do is plant my first finger on that beat, and it's going to stay there. And then as I add fingers, so my first finger always stays on that B. The fourth finger, make sure it's in tune with the E. Now as I put my third finger down, I still have my first finger B down, and I'm going to make sure they sound in tune together. As I have those down, I'm going to put my fourth finger down to see if those are in tune with each other. Okay? So that's a bit of a stretch, so you don't want to be squeezing your thumb. You don't want to be squeezing any of your fingers, or else it's going to feel really uncomfortable. Okay? So when you're practicing them, make sure your bow just keeps moving, even if it's out of tune. So keep moving your bow. As you slide your finger back and forth, and then all of a sudden it's going to come into focus. It's going to be like, whoa, my violin is so loud. Then you know it's really playing in tune. All right. That's important to get those really well in tune, and that's how you do it. The next one is a lot easier. Okay, you want to make sure, so the second measure of that, you want to make sure that your Ds are in tune with the open D. your second finger down, F sharp. You can tune it with the opening. Right, so this D, your third finger and second finger are just going to be basically touching each other. It's going to be in tune. And then now the next one, this is a wee bit trickier. But you're just switching. This one you had your second finger, F sharp here. And now you just switch places. Your second finger goes to the A string, your third finger goes to the D string. And you get a nasty little tritone there. And now make sure you put a low first finger for that A sharp. But that your second finger, C sharp, is still nice and high. Okay, don't let that C sharp sag. And I'd practice that backwards and forwards. Okay, so please don't do both together. Don't be like practicing the bow stroke, right? Just practice your left hand playing that in tune. Practicing that means going forward, going backward, playing two notes together with just the most even bow stroke you can possibly find. And then you're going to be super successful in playing in tune with a great bow stroke when you put both of them back together. Okay? Please do that. Okay, and now we get to, I think it's measure 24, where we go. Okay, so watch this. I'm in the middle, and I take a long stop. I'm in the middle again. Long, short, middle. Stop. Okay, so I'm always starting the middle, taking a long down, and winding up in the middle. Even though those are all eighth notes, this would be so boring. Like, totally boring. But we're going somewhere. Dum, bum, bum. Dum, beam, bum. Dum, beam, bum. Right? It's like kind of like bouncing a tennis ball. It's like you lift it up, yum, boom, boom. Dum, beam, boom. Right? And it bounces back. That's what it is. Bounce. Lift, throw, bounce. And that's how we end. Okay, on these, you want to make sure that's really well in tune. Keep the knuckles, the base knuckles of your hand open, and keep your fourth finger just hovering. So when you lift it up, make sure it's still hovering over its spot there on the B. Okay, so you're not pulling it back like this, which would be hard to play in tune. You just lift it up and hover it. That means you keep these knuckles open. All right, what I do is I put one little vibrato on there. Do you see I'm also releasing my first finger when I do that? I'm just lifting it a little bit so I can throw all the weight of my hand into the fourth finger. I'm going bop, 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 throwing the weight of my hand into the fourth finger because it's not that strong. And it just makes a nice sound. Okay, next tutti, I think that's measure 35, 36, 37. Interesting, here they let you play the downbeat. Okay, that's going to be with your fourth finger, by the way, so prepare it. Okay, I put my 1, 2, 3, 4, make sure it's really well in tune, and then the next note can be an open string. Hey, we've seen this gesture before, haven't we? Remember? It was the one that we were going to practice. And okay, so it's the up, short down bow, longer up, and then and when I'm landing on that, I'm not pressing. All I'm doing is like dropping my shoulder. Like I'm flopping into a sofa. Okay? That's how you make that nice sound. And now we have that last measure in the line. I think it's 48. Here, Okay, you want to get that in tune. So make sure that your third finger A that you just played here is the same as this. So I would just practice that. Now you have to shift back. Okay, so that shift going up, make sure it's the same A, and then shifting down shouldn't be too hard. And then there's a whole lot of solo playing, right? And then we get a tutti at the end. You're like, that's easy. There's just whole notes. But you're like, just a minute, whole notes. We haven't had whole notes before. So you got to think. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, okay? So, is that an eighth note? 4, 3, 4. You notice what I just did? I just played a wrong note. So, whoa, we have a D sharp there. Okay, make sure you're high enough. 2, 3, 4. Now E sharp. E sharp is just a whole step. So these are the 3 notes. Okay, so there's a half step between your second and third finger. And those are the same notes. 1, 2. Okay, so 2 things to get. Number 1 is these notes in tune. Shifting from that C sharp to the D sharp, and then a whole step. Right? Getting that really well in tune. Okay. And then we have the tutti, which is 4th finger hover. Okay, same kind of, scoopy bow stroke. And then, and we've seen that all before, right? That's just the very beginning. Just watch out here. There's a different bow stroke in the very last line of measure 100. So Mr. Ray wrote 3 up bows because he wants it really snappy. So don't use a lot of bow. Okay, and then the same short, land. And make sure this first finger is an A sharp, so right next to your second finger. Okay. Actually, go to the frog for that last note, a little break, and then nice and slow bow. Right, because that is a full measure with a fermata. Okay, you're going to do great at this. The next thing you need to do is practice all of these passages and then record yourself with a metronome and send me the recording. It can be a video, it can also be audio if you prefer, but I just want to check in and see what you've done with this, see if you need any more help, and then you can watch the tutorial on the Mozart and do that music as well. Okay? This is going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see you at camp.